Tell me it. Chelsea lives to fight another day, if ever there's another day. you know, I think we lost the match yesterday, but we lost the battle in Paris. The we all knew there was no chance of us. There was a slim chance of us turning it around yesterday, but the three-goal deficit in Paris really made the tax kind of mission impossible. You know, and considering two early goals in that manner in 14 minutes, the game you needed to fight for. I'm not even saying win. The game you needed to fight, you needed the sweat and the blood on the pitch. And characteristically, it's been happening. You considered two, early goals, and the tie was over before it even began. And I'm a kind of considerate person. The first leg, I say Rosino did what he had to do. But the second leg, that was just stupid of him. That was immature of him. That was too overconfident of him. That was unnecessary. Prior before the game, we already that Fofana is gonna be dropped because apparently he didn't track Anthony Gordon. He was dropped, and that was the backdrop of recent superb performances by him. Then playing against the European champion PSG, where you have the world best player and some of the best players in this world, that was no game to experiment. That was no game to prove your point. That was no game to drop Fofana. The best you could do is just to sack the guy up, because you know why? It's like a controlled demolition. It's like a self-destruct. It's like a controlled damage. The damage has been done in the Paris. You just need to control it. If you're not going to turn it around, just control it. Start all your best players. If you lose, people will say, "Oh, you started your best players, but they didn't do enough." But if you're bringing in French players, permit me for using those words for, especially Sa, especially Sa, Heto has had some running in the last few games, especially Mamadou Sa. If you're bringing this Mamadou Sa ahead of Wesley Fofana, after you've realized that your two right backs, are not there, who are not going to play. And we've seen Fofana playing right back for Maresca. And if you don't want to play him at right back, he could play central, which is his natural position. And you dropped him against PSG. Who do you bring? 20-year-old Mamadou Sarr. You invited pressure on the guy. And overconfident killed Sarr for the game. No, he could have used his head, not the ball away. You could have cleared the ball away. But he wanted to control the ball with finesse, and he missed it, and boom, that was it. I blame the coach. You invited pressure on yourself. Then people gonna say you don't know what you're doing. People are gonna say they prefer the past demons, the Marescas, the Pochettinos, the who else again that came before you, that they prefer them to you because you saw fire and you put your hand inside. There was no need for dropping Fofana. Start Fofana. If you start all your best team and they mess up, people might blame the players that they disappointed. But if you're benching your key players because of this few poor games, and you're starting a player that you don't even know what is going to offer, the Champions League, that's the biggest stage of every footballer's career club-wise. Irrespective of how many games Sarr has played with you against PSG in France, this is England, bro. This is the Champions League. That was the night you needed to turn 3 goals. You needed to overturn 3 goals. But then, boom, that was it. We were such a joke. And from that decision, people are going to attack the management, they're going to attack the coach, they're going to attack the owners. And from now to the end of the season, it's going to be a roller coaster. The World Cup is just going to be a kind of a distraction, Martino messed up. You have to. He messed up, and by 68th minute, he threw in the towel. He brought in Lavia, he brought in Delap, he brought in Ganacho for Enzo, João Pedro, and Cole Palmer. Arguably your best players. You're resting them for Everton in few days' time. He conceded. He had to concede. That was 5 goal difference that they needed to reply in 30 minutes. We were not going to do that. He knew. But as a coach, you don't do that. You don't give in such like that. Yeah, he said on the long run it's going to benefit Chelsea because he's saving them for the game. That means 30 minutes to the end of a Champions League match against PSG that you needed to win. You were thinking that, oh, you've lost, and you're thinking of the next game in the league. And you could see the massive thousands of people, fans that trooped out of the stadium. It has never been this bad. 8-2. I never thought I would live this day. 8-2 Chelsea. After close to £2 billion spent, after 4 years into the project, after everything. That was man. But like I said, we lost the game yesterday, but we lost the battle in Paris, and that kind of alleviated the pain. Man, PSG were not even that great. They just asked those clinical finishes. He didn't even bring in Fofana. Throughout, he made 5 substitutions. He didn't bring in Fofana. Yeah, I love when you try to make statements. I love when you try to make players feel on their toe. But that was no game for experimentation. That was no game for your fucking principles. You have to acknowledge that. You still have a lot to learn. He didn't bring Esteval because there was no point. The boy just coming back from injury. Let him heal. And, and thank God it was Sanchez issues yesterday. So, though you can't blame him for the 3 goals. But, yeah. And you know the funniest thing? They're not going to beat that Everton. They're not going to beat Everton. Maybe we'll bet them. They won't beat Everton. The best they can have against Everton is draw. Another early goal. Soccer Sharafino, guys.